Oh my god, I'm holding it upside down. Welcome back to another episode of my TBR game, in which a game of Scrabble picks my TBR for the month. My name is Jackie, and in today's video, I'm going to be spelling 5 words in a game of Scrabble, and those 5 words will act as my reading prompts for May and June. Per the rules of my game, I have to finish or DNF a book to collect the points for that word, and I allow myself to DNF books because I don't want to force myself to read books that I'm not loving for the sake of the game. I did successfully complete my TBR the last time we played, and that means that I hit my 150 points goal, so we're going to start over today with a fresh board. Now, since I am only picking 5 required books for the next 2 months, there are a couple of books that I need to read in May and June that I am not putting on the TBR. Let's talk about those really quickly. First, I have an arc of Death at a Highland Wedding by Kelly Armstrong, which is part of the A Rip Through Time series. Thank you so much to the publisher, Minotaur Books, for giving me this copy via NetGalley in exchange for an honest review. I have been reading this series for quite some time. It is a historical mystery series described as Outlander meets The Alienist. It follows Mallory, a modern-day homicide detective who accidentally is transported back to Victorian-era Scotland, where she ends up solving crimes with the medical examiner, Dr. Duncan Gray. In Death at a Highland Wedding, Mallory, Duncan, and Duncan's best friend, Detective McCready, all end up going to Detective McCready's sister's wedding, and when a murder occurs at the wedding, it's up to the 3 of them to solve the case before somebody else dies. I am very interested in seeing what happens in this installment because Detective McCready is actually one of my favorite characters in the series, so I'm hoping we learn more about him since this is his sister's wedding. I also really want Detective McCready and Duncan's sister Isla to act on some of the romantic tension between the 2 of them because I just love the idea of the 2 of them as a couple. So fingers crossed that we get something in that direction. I'm hoping, I'm praying. And another book that I need to read in the next 2 months is Peril at End House by Agatha Christie. In June, I am hosting a solve-along where myself and my subscribers are going to try to guess whodunit before the end of the book. I will link that official announcement in the card so you can go check it out for more information. In this book, Poirot and Hastings are on holiday in Cornwall, and they meet a young woman named Nick Buckley, who has had several near brushes with death. Poirot begins to think that there is something suspicious going on, and when a murder occurs, he is going to find out who is responsible. You can check out that official announcement video for the dates for the solve-along. If you have any interest, I would really love to try to solve the mystery with you. Please, no spoilers in the comment section. We want to make this fun and fair for everybody participating. So those are my required reads for May and June. Let's now get to prompt 1. All right, since we are starting with a fresh board, I need to pick 7 letters to start the game. E, O, E again, R, W. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 more. T. And lastly, N. Try to get it somewhat centered. Owner. For this, I'm just going to do a book on my physical shelf, you know, a book that I am the owner of. Pretty simple, but I need to read some more books from my physical TBR. So that is going to be 5, 6, 7, 8. For the first prompt owner, I decided that I am going to read The Intrigue at Highbury by Carrie Bebris. This is part of the Mr. and Mrs. Darcy mystery series, a series of historical cozy mysteries in which Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy from Pride and Prejudice are married and solving mysteries together, aka basically the Pride and Prejudice fanfiction of my wildest dreams. I am so excited for this installment in the series because it is a crossover with the characters from Emma. Emma is my second favorite Jane Austen novel after Pride and Prejudice, and I absolutely adore Emma and Mr. Knightley. So to see them together with Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy solving a murder, I can't contain my excitement. This has me written all over it. So the premise of this book is that Emma and her now husband, Mr. Knightley, are hosting a celebratory dinner to celebrate the marriage of their friends, Frank Churchill and Jane Fairfax. The dinner goes horribly wrong, however, because Frank Churchill's adoptive father, Mr. Churchill, he is coming for a visit and he ends up dead. Meanwhile, Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy just happen to be traveling through the village of Highbury when their carriage is robbed. And once they meet Emma and Mr. Knightley, the two couples start to notice there is a potential connection between the robbery and the murder. So they join forces to figure out what is going on. I am really looking forward to this. My two favorite Jane Austen couples together in a murder mystery. What more could you ask for? E. H. O. I. And I need one more. E again. Got a lot of E's so far. I mean, is E the most common letter in here? Yeah. By far. It has there's 12 E's in this bag. Yeah. I'm gonna spell white and just read a book that has white on the cover. So let's tally this up. There's a double letter score on the H. So that's gonna become 8, 9, 10, 11 plus 4, 15. That's good. Next, for a book with white on the cover, I chose the Penguin Book of Murder Mysteries, which is edited by Michael Sims. It has the white stripe, and like this is kind of white right here, off-white. So this is a book that my dad actually recommended to me. He sent me an article about it. It is an anthology of, I believe, 19th, 20th century classic mystery stories. However, you're not going to see Agatha Christie or Arthur Conan Doyle in this collection. The whole point is to highlight mystery stories from the past that maybe aren't quite as popular anymore, but still played an important role in defining the genre. I have been trying to read some more classic mysteries lately. I absolutely love Agatha Christie. She's one of my favorite writers, and I also want to check out some of the other detective fiction writers from her time. So this sounds very interesting to me, and since it's a short story anthology, I think it'll be a nice, fun read to break things up. U. D. X. E. See, this is what I'm talking about. Getting so many E's. I have 3 just right now. I have definitely never spelled this word before in this game. But wait. Forgot a letter. I'm sorry. It's hard doing this upside down sometimes. Tuxedo. Wow, and this is on the double word. Wow, this is gonna be a lot. Okay, I can't think of anything off the top of my head that has a tuxedo on the cover, but I feel like I should probably be able to find one. And if I can't find a tried and true tuxedo, just something that involves formal wear, a formal setting, you know, that sort of classy black tie vibe. Now we got to do the math. Alrighty. Okay. So we're going to have to double this at the end. Well, let's just start 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So that's 28. I'm happy with that. That is really good. Now, for the prompt tuxedo. There are characters on this cover. I don't think they're actually technically wearing tuxedos, but they are wearing suits. So I am going to count it. I'm going to read The Bombay Prince by Sujata Massey, which is part of her Perveen mystery series. I have not read a book in this series in quite some time. I think it's been over a year, so it's about time that I get back into it. This is a series set in 1920s India, and it follows Perveen Mystery, who is Bombay's first female lawyer. This book takes place in 1921, and it is around the time that the Prince of Wales is on a tour of India. Obviously, in this time period, India was under British colonial rule, and at the same time as his visit, a young student falls to her death near the royal procession. Perveen takes an interest in this young woman's death because the girl had actually visited her office for a consultation not long before she died, and Perveen now believes that this girl has been murdered, so she is going to investigate the case. Keeping my historical mystery series tally in check is important to me. I love historical mysteries. I write historical mysteries, and most historical mysteries are series. So it's important to me to keep reading the series that I already started and just keep my series TBR manageable. So it will be good to revisit this series after quite some time. R. Y. N. D. And this is the last one. I'm gonna try to go from the, like, really dig deep into the bag. W. Okay, let's do renew. And I have something in mind because there actually is a library book that I wanted to renew. So I'm spelling it with that in mind. So the only special character is this is a triple letter. So this is going to turn into a 3. So it'll be 7, 8, 9, 10. For the prompt renew, like I said, I spelled this word already knowing what book I wanted to pick, and that is You Are Fatally Invited by Andy Pelego. I checked this out from the library and then didn't actually start it like I intended to, so I renewed it and now I'm actually going to read it in May. This is a recently released debut thriller, and it was on my radar even before it came out because I think it is meant to be an And Then There Were None retelling, or definitely And Then There Were None inspired. It follows a group of thriller writers who are all invited to a retreat on a secluded Maine island. This retreat is being held at the home of a notoriously reclusive author, and he has hired Mila, our main character, to be the host of this event. Mila jumps at the chance because she actually has an axe to grind with one of these authors who's been invited, and she wants revenge against one of them. However, before she can execute her plan, somebody else ends up dead, and she decides that she is going to get to the bottom of this before the killer picks them off one by one. This book has so many blurbs on the back. I don't think I've ever seen a book that has this many blurbs. I guess a lot of people read it and liked it. The dust jacket describes it as a twisty locked room mystery. Sounds good to me. This month, I'm actually going to read this like I planned to last month. Blank. O. D. I may have done this before, but let's just do odd. and read a book with an odd number of pages. That'll be kind of fun for me to see what I can choose from. So it's a very short word, but it is on the double word score. So it would be 5. It's going to become 10. All right. Odd number of pages. So I had to look at my Goodreads TBR shelf, and obviously the Goodreads TBR shelf is sometimes slightly off with page count. But you know what book it told me has an odd number of pages? Marble Hall Murders by Anthony Horowitz. This is coming out this month. It is the 3rd and final book in the Susan Ryland series that started with Magpie Murders, one of my favorite modern day mysteries. I love this series, and I cannot wait for this final installment to come out. The basic premise of the series is that we are following editor Susan Ryland as the main sleuth. In book 1, Magpie Murders, she is investigating the death of the famous author Alan Conway, who she edited his mystery books. And Alan was not a very nice man, to say the least, so plenty of people had a motive to potentially off him. And these books are really fun because they have a book within a book format where you are following Susan as she attempts to solve a mystery, and then also reading one of Alan Conway's Atticus Pound mysteries at the same time. Atticus Pound is clearly meant to be a sort of Hercule Poirot character, very genius detective in a historic English setting. So it is really fun to have these two separate mystery narratives. And if there's one thing you're learning about me throughout this TBR, it is that I love mysteries. I love classic mysteries. I love mystery books that talk about mystery books. And if you watched my recent announcement, that is probably not that surprising to you. The premise of this 3rd and final book is that the publishing company has hired someone to write a new Atticus Pound novel now that Alan is dead. And Susan is going to edit this book. This young man alludes to Susan that he knows about a crime that took place many years ago and has included hints to whodunit inside this new Atticus Pound book. However, before he can say more, he ends up being killed, and Susan herself becomes the prime suspect. This is one of my most anticipated releases of the entire year. I am so hyped for this, and I actually put in a purchase request at my library months ago. They accepted it, so once the book comes in, I should be the very first person on the wait list, and I am praying that I will get to read this book soon. It should be in during the month of May, and God, I hope it'll be in June if it's not in May. So I'm putting it on the TBR. I can't wait to read this. Let me know if you want me to film some kind of vlog reading this book for all you other Anthony Horowitz fans out there. All right, and that is it for the May and June TBR. I will be back in July with the July and August TBR. Still have all my special tiles, and these are going to be my letters going into our next round. That is going to be my TBR for May and June. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to watch another one of my videos, I recently made the very exciting announcement that I have a book deal. My historical mystery inspired by Agatha Christie and the golden age of detective fiction is coming out from Berkeley in summer 2026. You can watch that announcement right here. And if you watch this entire video, please leave a green emoji of your choice in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!